enjoyed every bit of it. Catching up on the memories that the great music we're playing today, Grace, gets to just remind you of, and we take you down memory lane like that. 13 minutes, now 14 minutes past the hour of 8. We'll be getting into the local top story segment, and yes, in that segment today, quite special. We are joined by our third host, who will be, of course, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. Interesting discussion that we're going to be having, so be a part of it.
Air Power, Under 04, Green Labels, Nast D, UH. Samyako mama eh. Samyako mama eh.
Was this an era where they're saying has appointed Honorable Mr. Justice Dr. Mwamba Malila?
No.
Those are his titles.
Mr.
Justice.
Okay.
The title for the justice. Then he has, then he holds a PhD, so doctor. So Mr. is applying to justice. Yeah.
Live radio.
So stand by.
97.3. We love music.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are independent and do not in any way represent that of Live Radio Stands.
Yeah.
Live
This one?
Radio, Go Green, the future we want. The future we want.
Okay, thank you.
Local top stories, segments
Yeah,
discussing
you can
topics
use it
making
especially when
headlines in
they
the
are
local
calling
newspapers
in.
around Zambia.
All right, good morning, and yes, welcome to the Thursday edition of the local top story segment. Now, like I earlier mentioned, that of course today we are joined by we have a third host in studio. Of course, first thing is first, Madam J. Good morning.
Good morning, Eugene.
How are you today?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm excited.
You are.
Yes.
Just here.
I
I
have
know. Yeah, mostly we're the two of us in here, isn't it?
Yes, you know.
Yeah, so we have a third, host who happens to be, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. Ambassador, good morning, and we're delighted that we've woken you up to this morning.
No, thank you very much. I'm an early riser. I wake up quite early. It's a ritual I've been used for many years.
Okay.
So I'm glad to join live radio on, on your breakfast show to discuss the various issues that you tackle on your program. And wonderful studios, wonderful entrepreneurship that you guys are doing. And I love the focus on issues that are green, that are climate related, such a specialty.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
We're short of words,
humbled.
right?
Yes, we're short of words. We can only say that we're humbled.
Yeah.
I know Ambassador Mwamba is one person who've actually been taking interest in us.
Yes,
Eugene.
yes.
Remember, he wished us a very happy anniversary when we turned 5.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, who are we?
Yeah.
We're actually
Yes,
happy,
I wish to repeat my congratulations. You are 5, going to 6 now, and
Yes.
the radio and TV media industry in general in Zambia is highly competitive because we liberalized the state of the economy. I helped contribute to over 36 licenses the short period I was at the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Services in 2013. I believe in an expanded space. I believe in giving people choice and giving people a diversity, especially in information sourcing, that people should form their opinions from diverse sources of news and information. That way, they have an objective analysis of current affairs and current issues.
Great.
And that when that day comes to make a national decision, they will participate because they are fully informed. They've sifted the propaganda away from the actual truth. They've separated the facts and ensured that they've come up with the truth. So congratulations to you guys. You're participating in that media space.
Thank you so much. Ambassador, this reminds me. I know that your passion for the media costed you a job at some point under President Sata.
Yes, it did.
Because he kept giving licenses
Oh,
to
yeah.
the media. I remember.
I remember so well.
Yes,
I think
that
must have been
2013.
countrywide.
Yeah, 2013.
Yeah, countrywide licenses. I think something like
I
that.
think he issued a license to must be Radio Phoenix. I was with Phoenix that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So what happened there was that, of course, there were many issues. As soon as I came into Ministry of Information as permanent secretary, there were urgent things on the table
Right.
that needed decision making. One of the issues was digital migration. There was a complaint and an investigation against it. I looked at the data, I looked at the documents, I looked at the file, and in my independent decision, I thought that the best thing to do was to cancel that license because it was marred with irregularities and to start afresh.
Okay.
And another matter was the approach for me, speaking to technocrats, it could have been done better. And I also wanted a Zambian component where not everything was done, although this was a loan from China, not everything was done from China, that there should be a huge local component, especially in the construction of provincial studios.
Right.
I felt that should be a component to be done by Zambians, not necessarily by a foreign entity. And then there was the issues of licenses. There were applications for nationwide license by QFM, Radio Phoenix. There were 5 applications for TV stations. There were other applications for extension of their current licenses to venture elsewhere. I found nothing wrong with that. We sat as a committee. There was a technical report from, the IBA committee has various people that sit on it, and the permanent secretary is one of them. And we felt that we should grant. There was no harm in expanding the space. The people that were applying besides would create jobs.
Now, I'll take you back a bit.
So I made that decision, and a week later, the president cited it as a reason he was dismissing me.
I'll take it back, Ambassador. I know that Zambia did, migrate from analog to digital, which we're in right now. And how would you describe, where we are with that now? Are we really, doing so well with it? Or maybe you feel there are certain things that were missed in the process to just transitioning.
So far, so good. I think we are on course. It will expand the media industry. There'll be a huge rise in the film industry, and just you've seen what it has done. However, I can't discuss subsequent procurement of how it was done. If there were further irregularities, I'm not privy to that. But what I know is a wonderful project to our country to modernize, digitize, and then expand the spaces. Because analog is extremely limited, relying on landline, which is archaic and outdated. Digital is totally a new ballgame. It gives you huge space. Yeah, we can do live streaming like we are doing now. So I'm excited about digital migration, but I can't discuss subsequent decisions that were made, how it was procured, whether there were further irregularities. I haven't been privy to that, but all I remember is that I cancelled the first one that was not done properly.
All right.
Ambassador, I know, I'll move you from that.
No problem. Yeah.
Ambassador, you served Zambia, represented us in Ethiopia.
Yes.
I know quite a number of our listeners do not understand why we should have people represent Zambia in other countries. I mean, what's the importance of having representation? What's the importance of having our ambassadors represent Zambia in other foreign countries? Yeah.
I have been extremely lucky that I was appointed as High Commissioner to South Africa. One of our biggest stations in North Africa is our largest trading partner other than China, and it's our regional. Our economy relies on part of its economy from South Africa. I served in South Africa. There are many things, that we did. So how does it affect us? Why do you need a diplomatic station abroad at huge cost? First of all, we are not an island. We are part of the global community. So we have to influence not just local issues, we have to influence regional and global issues. You have to have a presence in the global market and in the global decision making. Hence the purposes of those foreign stations. Let me give a practical example like that of South Africa. We engaged entities like ShopRite and game stores, and we presented them the issues that small and medium enterprises were complaining about. They said the small-scale farmers said we can't sell our tomatoes and onions with ShopRite or game stores or builders where that there are things that they can't source locally. And we engaged, because what you have here in this country are mayor managers, but the directors and owners of these retail chains are based in South Africa. So we engaged them at that level. And we said our people are complaining that you're not selling their produce, that there are local products such as done by Trade Kings and others that are not available in your market. You prefer bringing in imports, yet they are substitutes, quality substitutes in our country. And those resulted in talks that resulted in ShopRite, in fact, expanding, and others, builders wear and game stores, expanding what they buy for resale locally. So it rose from something like 10% to in excess of 48% and 55%. So the role of embassies become very important. In 2015, something happened fundamentally. We changed our foreign policy. We focused now our foreign policy from political diplomacy to economic diplomacy, meaning the focus of all our embassies abroad and our trade missions and our consuls should be on economic diplomacy. What is it that can benefit our country? What is it that we can find markets for our produce locally to the markets where we are? And we can relate the business and investment opportunities to those countries, those host countries, to the sending country back to Zambia. So they become extremely important and relevant.
Okay, so you're back now. So we
Yes.
recently saw Zambians being evacuated back home because of an arrest in Ethiopia. Was that necessary?
Thank you very much. So there's been a conflict in Ethiopia for the last 1 year. Ethiopia comprises 10 states. It's a federal country. It's a federal nation, and it comprises, like we have provinces, they have states, and the states are quite independent, quite autonomous. And of course, they're overseen by a government led by the prime minister, a titular president, and the federal structure. But they've devolved most of the functions, including such as that of the police and education, to the states. However, the states are formed on the basis of ethnic groupings. So each major tribe has its own state. And I think that's where the fragility comes in. And we saw what happened where one of the northern regions declared war. And the war has been going on for the last 1 year. And then there were reports a few weeks ago that the rebels had left their base and were coming to invade Addis Ababa. So one of the things we did was a preemptive action.
Okay.
We released our female diplomats and we released our spouses. We released all the children. We gave an advisory note to the Zambians to leave and see how they could get leave and be in Zambia or elsewhere to be safe. You can't gamble on life. And then we were very excited. The President Hakainde Hichilema, got involved and said, I'm doing an immediate evacuation to whoever wishes to return to Zambia. And the Zambian government chartered a plan, and we quickly did the organization, and you saw the first 31 Zambians that returned. In Addis Ababa, we have, it's not like South Africa where I was, where you have over 15,000 Zambians and households. But in Ethiopia, you have a few Zambians, just about 50 families. So about 100 people. These are essentially professionals that are working with international organizations and multilateral organizations like the African Union and the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. Some are from the church. For example, the Catholic deploys its missions and missionaries across the world, and we have some Zambians that work for the church, and we have teachers who work in the private sector. So, but it's a sizable, small community. So some came voluntary, and when the president directed that Zambians who wish to return for safety should return. So was it a good decision? It was.
Okay,
Safety.
you're not very good friends.
Safety.
You don't understand the for better, for worse. You only want to be there when it's all
No,
rosy.
safety
When there's
kulisunga
war,
wemwine.
kulisunga wemwine. Anyway,
Safety kulisunga wemwine, and
quite interesting.
you wouldn't want any Zambian caught up in conflict where you lose lives. If Zambians have to be caught up in conflict, probably there should be our peace missions.
Of course.
Our peace troops that are trained to participate in conflict. So we have various in Sudan, in Central Africa, and in Somalia. And I think you came to Somalia.
Yes,
I don't know.
I did.
You came to
I
Somalia.
did, yes.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the countries that we are accredited, that
Zambia
Ethiopia is
doing
accredited.
Quite well,
Yes, yes, and our officers
I
are
remember
held.
The Somalians being so grateful of the
Yeah.
Zambian officers who are there.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
really appreciate that work,
Yeah.
the work they're doing.
Yeah. So there's something that we've done at the African Union where we're encouraging more women to participate in conflict. Because when they see a woman, you know, war brings atrocities to women and children. So when a woman sees a police officer who's a woman or a soldier who's a woman, they feel comfortable. They can share their pain. And part of the resolution of that conflict and for the community in distress, especially the women, they feel comfortable to deal with a woman officer than a male officer. Because remember, the abuse, the mistreatment, and the human rights abuses have been done by the men. Whether it's raping, whether it's sexual harassment, beatings, they've been done by men. So there is lack of trust. But when they see a woman, so we have a lot of women
You see
officers.
the power in women. Now let's tell you.
So we have a lot of
Yeah.
women that are doing
Yes.
very well in Somalia and in Central
Exactly,
Africa.
yes.
And they are given prominent roles to resolve those conflicts and to attend to the distressed community that is been internally displaced, you know, that have suffered the abuses of war. And so we are glad with our troops that are in these foreign missions.
Great. Ambassador, you've been recalled.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
I've been
you've
recalled.
Are you
Yes.
bitter?
No, not at all. We say diplomacy is a revolving door.
Exactly.
So your attitude should be, I have been dispatched abroad to do a job and I can be recalled anytime. And at the level of the ambassador, is at the discretion of the head of state. So you can be recalled anytime. We are informed. So you might have a valid contract. I had a valid contract going up to May, but up to February. But it was terminated. And I have no grudges. But what can I say about recalls and diplomatic recalls?
Yes.
Is they have to be done properly. They have to be done in a manner that is not driven by malice. That's not driven by a set of people trying to displace the other set of people. It has to be done professionally. You have to give diplomats adequate time to vacate their stations. This government has not done very well on that. So they termed what they called recalls with immediate effect, and you had to return as soon as they sent you the money. Yet the law, codified law and regulation state that the diplomat has 90 days in which to prepare their departure. So we have breached that for whatever reason.
And
I think that the head of state was not advised properly
of
by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There is no such thing as to recall you with immediate effect. No. There are circumstances, exigencies. For example, if there is war, you can leave within 12 to 48 hours. If there are circumstances, the country where you are feel that you've committed a crime, they can declare you persona non grata and leave you within 48 hours or 24 hours or immediately. But in a recall, like in our case, there's been a change of government. It's expected that government will change its diplomats and senior officers like permanent secretary. I think no one has a qualm for it. but in your repatriation and in their removal from their stations, follow the law. The regulations are there, codified, give them that 3 months that they require, especially at the level of the ambassador. Let them do their farewells. Let them, we are accredited to heads of states and heads of missions. A country gets bad, you create a crisis for the new ambassador if you haven't done those formalities. They take it very seriously.
I mean, even fears. I think when I'm appointed, I will have those fears that immediately there's a change of government, probably I'll be recalled and I won't be given enough time to do my packing and all. But I pray the people in charge can look into this and ensure that our people serving for admissions are given adequate time to pack, to say their farewells. They will have created that as a home too. They will have settled somewhat. So, they have so many things to do before you leave, the farewells, like you put it.
You are living a life.
Yes,
you are living, Jamil,
exactly.
you are living a life abroad. You might have commitments and obligations to the bank. You might have loans outstanding. You might have contractual obligations, such as the house you live in, the rent obligations. There are various commitments. That is why the law was made without emotions. Give people 90 days in which to wind up their affairs. And unfortunately, for the set of diplomats coming, that hasn't been done. And it's something I've been speaking about internally, and I'm speaking about it publicly. It wasn't done properly. We know that there's a new government. We know that the new government has its own discretion, and we respect the discretion of the President Hakainde Hichilema, for example, to recall me. I actually did a letter and thanked him because it's an opportunity for me to save our country. Although I was appointed by President Edgar Lungu, I have been in Ethiopia since I was appointed the last 2 months. So I had to thank the President. You serve at the pleasure of the President. However, when you recall me, follow the law. I don't think President Hakainde is lawless. He's not lawless.
No.
He's a man who follows the rule of law. He has spoken about, the rule of law. So why would we encourage lawlessness at the base?
He's been promising
that
to
was
bring
my
sanity
question.
in the systems and everything.
Yes.
I think, that does not leave out that. And then, by the way, those are our fellow Zambians. Those are our people. So let's just give them that honor. They saved the country. Even as they're being recalled, they need to be given that understanding that you are coming.
Right. So now I've got a question as well, just on that, Ambassador. So maybe going forward, can we see a situation, or maybe, I don't know if this might change as we move forward, where, maybe, representatives that represent our country outside there are called based on, performance? Should it be like that?
Oh, if it's based on performance, I probably wouldn't have been recalled. I started.
And I wanted to ask, to say, how would you rate your performance in the mission?
My service is not that I'm blowing my own top. It's been with distinction. And the community, for example, in South Africa, the government of South Africa, the community in South Africa, the captains of industry that we interacted with can tell you. Similar in Ethiopia, they can tell you. And we raised the bar, the famous bar, we raised it high. We carried our flag very high, and it's proud. You feel proud to be Zambian in the manner we're consulted regularly. We're called in caucus meetings where before pre-major meetings are done, they want Zambia in the meeting because they know Zambia can shape the direction of a major policy, 2, 4 or against. So if I was recalled on competence now, I'll still be holding my job.
Okay.
I understand. That's why I've given an example of the US, where they've codified these things. When a new president emerges from another political party and wins elections, for example, Donald Trump lost election to Joe Biden. Almost 90% of the ambassadors have been recalled. And Biden is replacing the new ambassadors with his own people from the party, from business community, from wherever they get the pool of ambassadors from. It's codified. About 3,650 people lose jobs. Because a head of state, when you are new, you are coming with a new aspirations, new manifesto, new promises, and you want a set of people that you think can drive your agenda. And sometimes at very, very high levels, there are doubts about loyalty to those new agendas.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why the Americans have codified it. Look, when a new president comes, you pack.
So it's something that is expected, really.
Yes.
Okay.
There's something we've done. There's something we've done in our new constitution.
Okay.
This new constitution. When a new head of state from another political party comes, both the Attorney General and the Solicitor General loses their job, lose their jobs. You've seen our constitution.
Yeah.
Because these are key advisors to the president. And
So they go with him.
they go with the previous government.
Government,
So the new president is given an opportunity to appoint. So we should codify that so that people don't feel the harassment.
Oh, yeah.
Should our service be professional, devoid of politics, where we only have a cadre of professional diplomats? We're already doing it. The bulk of our diplomats are professionals. They are holding those offices because they are qualified to do so, and they can do the job. So below the ambassador, most of the diplomats are qualified professional diplomats, and there's been an attempt to professionalize that so that the instability, you don't suffer these instabilities at the top when a government loses power or a new head of state comes in. So the professionals should not be disturbed. So that we continue to build.
Talking about your performance, I'm just reading some comments on your live.
Okay.
Saying, I advise Ambassador Mwamba to avail himself to the government of the day so he can be used as a resource. His skills, experience, and knowledge can contribute positively to this great nation. Somebody feels, like you said, your performance was tip-top, and somebody feels you should avail yourself to the government of the day. Now, talking about that,
Yes,
you're
yes.
back. You're back to the media.
Yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Yes. What next?
So I've been in public service since 2002. I've been a civil servant, so literally the last 18, 19 years. In 2015, first I took a 1 year sabbatical when the former president Michael Sata, remember, dismissed me, retired me in national interest.
Oh, yeah.
If you mulanda pama national interest, if we carry to get the national interest. So I was a young man, retired in national interest.
Was that a blow for you, really? Let's get it.
He's saying he was a young man. He
Yeah,
had the energy
yeah.
to
So it was a
serve.
blow, right?
It
Yeah.
was.
For me, I regard interruptions to my life as normal. The Lord knows what He does. He sees the end from the beginning.
Yeah.
I never take bitterness,
Okay.
even when President Michael Sata relieved me of the job. But to remember that He gave me a job in the first place, and He allowed me a lot of room to work. He allowed me. He consulted me various times. You know, I keep on talking about Link Zambia. 5,000, where myself and a friend of mine, Charles Panje, who was permanent secretary at in Muchinga and later at Works and Supply and Lusaka province, we designed Link Zambia, proposed it to the president, and it was adopted. It was Link Zambia 5,000. It became Link Zambia 8,000 because the president knew roads, he knew the country, he knew it very well, and you know. So how can I just look at my dismissal and fail to appreciate the opportunity he gave me? So I didn't take it. I took it in stride. Said, I've just been misunderstood. The liars sometimes have their day.
Yes.
But where are they? They lied then. Where are they? You see what I mean? So the setbacks are temporal. You just laugh at the setback. For me as a Christian, I even praise the Lord for such a decision. I even thank.
Those are the trials,
Yes.
temptations, which the
Yes.
Bible talk about.
I even-
As a Christian, expect to go through such. It should not be rosy.
Yeah.
You should be tempted. You should be tried.
Yes, exactly. So you even thank God for it. You even praise Him for such a decision. And I even wrote a letter to thank the president. And people came, no, he's doing this wrong. Speak against this. I said, no.
Yeah.
I don't take people's battles. That's not my war.
not my war.
Those are not my battles. I love my president. Yes, there's been a misunderstanding. He has dismissed me, but he appointed me. So do I look at the
that
good?
chance.
Yeah. So I said, there's a reason. And within 1 year, I was back, even in a higher senior position.
Yeah.
You know.
Eugene, let's be like your ambassador.
Yeah, we need
let's
to
be
emulate
positive.
him.
Let's not look at the
Yeah,
negatives.
we
you
need
know?
to emulate it. Now, Ambassador, like, of course, you were asked by Madam J here. You're back in the country, and I'm sure everybody wants to know what will be your next step. Are we going to see you, busy maybe in politics in this case? Are we going to, or how are you positioning yourself? now
Especially
you're
that
back?
you've been a civil servant.
Yes, yes. So first of all, let's start.
Yeah.
There's a private initiative I started last year
Okay.
called Chifwani Concepts. So I said I want to bring solutions to the farm gate for our small and medium enterprise farmers. Our farmers in the rural areas really suffer. And I said I'll take one crop called cassava and I want to promote it, get high yielding seedlings, distribute to these farmers, and when they harvest, then take them, find a market for them. And you saw I signed agreements with Zambia Breweries and with Zonkai and others are engaged in those discussions. It's something I'm passionate about. I think I want to help the rural farmer. And cassava as a product, as a crop, can quickly help fight poverty in rural communities, can bring food security, can bring income. The reliance on maize, we don't even learn lessons from maize. We pump in money year in, year out, from $200 million to $500 million year in, year out. Yet you have miracle crops like cassava that can really change the life of your household. So it's something I want to pursue. Chifwani concept. Chifwani is one lima. That's a Chifwani. So I'm telling the farmers, whatever you are farming, mfuaileni kwe Chifwani, the one lima,
Just one
and
lima.
do cassava for me.
Okay.
I'll get you the market. I'll transport the cassava for you. I'll get you the market.
No,
Those are the
exciting,
initiatives
yeah.
we're talking about. I think wonderful initiative. And when we talk diversification in
Yeah.
terms of crops,
Yes.
I think this is what we're talking about. We've been so dependent on maize.
Yeah.
And for farmers who want to, at the end of the day, to sell and mainly earn, this is not a cash crop.
Yeah.
So for me, I always feel we should be explaining the basics. When we talk about a cash crop, what are we talking about? Meaning we are saying this crop you can sell and get money.
Yeah.
And it will give you that value you need. So I want to commend you for that, and I hope.
So I want to pursue it.
Chifwani
I
will
want
not
to Chifwani
die,
concept.
because I know the time Chifwani came, there was
Yeah.
that talk of you standing for Cassava Central.
So
So
that's-
it was looked at as a political gimmick,
Yes.
so that you can use it in your campaigns and everything.
No, it will be an independent
I'm
institution.
happy that you're still talking about it
Yes,
now.
Jamia, to be an independent, autonomous, to run as a business on its own. I think people can run the idea. I'll find people to run it. We'll get regional managers to run it. It's self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining.
You are a mere link between the market and our farmers, and you don't want our farmers exploited. Give them the opportunity. And like I say, cassava is really the future, and our farmers, we can resolve their issues of lack of food security, lack of income through cassava. On the political front, I've done civil service. Look, I've held a position. I was Deputy Permanent Secretary from 2003 to 2011. I was appointed as Permanent Secretary, from 2011 up to 2014. So then I've been ambassador. So in 2015, I decided to go into politics. And, the head of state then, His Excellency President Edgar Lungu said, but I've given you a job. Why do you want to stand in Kasama? Go and do the job. National duties, national duties come first. They take precedence. You've been given a national duty. Go and serve in South Africa. So I did. And
So let me cut you short. Go and serve in South Africa. This reminds me, because I remember you must have been appointed elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think,
Or to Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Malaysia. Actually, and there was this talk. No, he has rejected the position. He doesn't want to go to Malaysia. He wants to. Yeah, and you went. to
yo
South
balambepesha sho bakateka nga bakupela enshito tuwaye batimu
Why was
bakateka
so shocked? Say, how
mwimpele enshito mpeni. So he appointed me to to Malaysia, and I said, Your Excellency, I've helped run with my colleagues the 2015 elections. I've played a key role in this election. I believe that the election is over, but I need to do a postmortem, because you cannot come from an election and know what went wrong. You need to identify what your weaknesses were, what your strengths were, to build on it. Remember, we're going to go to an election the next 18 months. So I said it's very important for me that we do a postmortem. That way, you have something to build on. You are a new president, you know, you are coming from an election. You need to understand what went on. So we convened this workshop, and I think it was co-chaired with me and KBF, and we did a postmortem report, and we presented to the president for the plans he should do in the next 18 months to go into another election, and to recognize the weaknesses that we had had in 2015 elections, then to build the PF as an institution, to strengthen it and see how then it can face the elections of 2016. So he was very excited, and he said, okay, for that reason, I think we will shift you nearby, so that if we need to consult you on this document and other matters, we will call you at short notice. And that's how the president himself moved me from Malaysia to South Africa. I'd already done research about Malaysia. I was already writing about the rubber industry, and I was already writing about this transformation and how their tigers were poorer than us. Singapore and Malaysia were poorer than us in 1964, and they are these giants. I was already excited about Malaysia. So when the online newspapers were writing, Mwamba nakano kuya, Mwamba lefu kuya, telefoyo kuya, he's directing President Lungu. I said, mwana wakwalesa, ni mwana wakaele, ni mwana wakaele, mwilambe pesha.
Wonderful. So now there's been talk the past 2-3 days that you're vying for the position of presidency for the Patriotic Front.
No, let me be careful in the way I answer that question, whether I'm going for the position of PF presidency or not. First of all, I think it's too early for anyone to jostle for the position to replace President Edgar Lungu for now. Like I did in 2015, for me, I would like to understand if they have done a postmortem. And if the postmortem report is out, what does the postmortem say? Why did the PF lose elections? I want to understand.
And why did they lose?
So,
According to
me, there were various factors.
Okay.
Number one, the state of the economy. You know, the economy was ravaged. We had drought in 2015, the worst drought in 30 years. We had another big drought in 2017, which had serious ramifications on the economy. Because remember those load sheddings. Remember we didn't have power. Unfortunately, our major dams in this country are in the driest area of our country. Whether it's Kafue Gorge, whether it's Kariba Dam, whether it's Tej, they are in the driest areas of our country, and you have to rely on water to fall from Chingola, from Solwezi, from Kafue River, Zambezi River, to go and fill those dams. So we're ravaged. Our economy was affected. Those power shortages decimated our small and medium enterprise, the barber shops, the salons. We had another drought, I think 2019. We never really recovered from the one in 2015. We had issues of COVID-19 by 2020, which literally nearly shut down our economy, because the rest of the world, you know, shut down their supply chains and closed industries. Things became expensive. So number one, state of the economy. Number two, corruption allegations, perceived or real, against the senior leadership of the party. Number three, we had allowed hooliganism and cadreism to take center stage. We let our youths become more important in markets where they harass the traders, they harass the consumers, and we paid lip service in resolving that crisis. The issue of communicating to the voter, I think we had a media crisis because we touted infrastructure development in 2015. The PF built hospitals, roads, and hospitals. In 2016, we said the PF has built roads, hospitals, bridges, and ports. Then should you sing the same song in 2021 of infrastructure? Number two, who are sitting on that register? It's young people.
Yes.
The 7.7, not the famous 2.8, the 7.7 million people sitting on that register, look at the demographics. What did they want? They wanted government and the leadership that will attend to the state of the economy. The youths wanted jobs. They wanted support in their entrepreneurship ideas. They wanted empowerment. For the younger ones, they wanted cheaper education because university and secondary education is extremely expensive. So if the economy is down, that means your guardians and parents will not support you in your education endeavors. So there was need to link the issues of our people. And you don't craft a message 3 months before election. It has to be an ongoing exercise for the entire period you're in office.
I wish President Lungu had recalled you at least a year before the election. You see, he used you for the other election to come and look at all these ideas, to come and study the demographics, you know. The ECZ register has about 7 million voters. What's, like you're putting it, what message do these people want? The youths are looking for jobs. So, you know, I think that needed to be the message.
And for me, I'm still concerned because out of 7.7 million voters, only a few turned up, about 3.94 million.
Yeah.
The huge number stayed away from the elections. Again, what was their message? Why did they stay away from the elections? Has anyone bothered to establish and find out why such a huge number of our people stayed away from the elections? You know, the turnout was quite good. It was better than 2015 and 2016, but lamentably low for the number of voters that we had registered. And so, that, in my view, that's why those are some of the reasons the PF lost. The issue of tribal talk, it was not necessary. We are one Zambia, one nation. And the intermarriages over the last 56 years, Jamia, if I look at you, I don't know where you come from. I don't know where your children come from.
I know your wife is also.
Yeah, so I don't know who you are married to. So don't assume that Mwamba will be loyal to his tribe.
No.
You see what I mean?
I
Don't think that Simasiku will be loyal to his tribe. It's cheap to think like that. And I always discourage, let's remove ethnicity and tribe in our politics. Because at household levels, we are not discussing. We are family members, our friends. I grew up on the Copper Belt, where the issue of, you don't even know where your friends come from. You know, it's so heterogeneous in nature. That's a Zambia we need to build. Not finding about your surname and where you come from. You know, so if anyone is practicing tribalism, past government or even this current government, if it practices tribalism, it will be its fault because our people have rejected tribalism.
Exactly.
You know, so those are many factors. I'm yet to look at the postmortem report. I hear that it was done. Two, the Patriotic Front have been associated with it since 2002. They need to rebuild. First, accept we have lost elections. Accept the mistakes that were made. If possible, apologize for those mistakes. And then identify where the weaknesses were and where the strengths are. I think that the biggest threat to the UPND in 2026 remains the Patriotic Front. Its structures are still intact. It just needs a...
Sorry about that. Sorry about that feedback right there. Okay, yeah, so you were on the floor there, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah.
So they need to understand the dynamics of the last elections. Then begin. You need to build and rebuild. To jostle just for the position of president, you are not resolving the crisis. The issue of the presidency of the party is one of the many things that the PF has to do. It's just not a leadership issue. It has to be, they have to rebuild, do a stock of their members. Their structures, how many are still standing, how many have abandoned politics, how many have crossed over. You need to rebuild these structures. Besides, you will need the structures to then come to a general conference and elect a new leadership.
I know this, that coming, I'm sure you're having the elections, is it next year, for a new leader?
I saw the communication from, yeah.
Yes, to say the party will be having those elections next year. I'm sure it's the same rebranding we're talking about,
Yes.
Yeah.
and re-strategizing. So I hope some of these ideas you're putting forward will be presented then, because I also believe in having a strong opposition. We're talking about the checks and balances. We always talk. We need the opposition.
Yeah.
We need it. We are in a democracy, Eugene. So we don't want these parties to die. I know others are saying that's the end of PF,
Yeah.
but I'm happy that the party still has members like you who still feel it will be the strongest opposition 2026.
We'll be doing a disservice to this country if we allow the PF to die. I've heard remarks and comments that the PF is a criminal enterprise, shut it down, close it. Others want to use the issue of debt and go to court and shut down the PF. It will be a big disservice to this country. The UPND requires strong opposition. It's part of the democratic process. We need a party that should put the UPND to their commitments, to their promises, to their pledges, to their voters and to our country. And remember, if the UPND succeeds, it benefits our people.
It's our people. It's
Yeah.
Zambians.
If you create
who
employment,
benefit.
it will benefit our people.
Exactly.
So if they're failing to provide the jobs, we need to put them on the spot. Why are you not providing the jobs you pledged and promised? You said you'll attend to the state of the economy.
Yes.
You said the price of goods and services will come down. You said you create jobs. You said you empower young people. Someone needs to be asking them again and again. And that's a role that the Patriotic Front should play. So my view is the party should institutionalize. To say Emmanuel Mwamba is a messiah, when he goes into PF as president, then the problems of the PF go away. Then Emmanuel is a messiah, then he revives the PF alone and it becomes a strong opposition. Is to be myopic, is to be narrow in perspective.
Yeah.
You have to be a team. No one person succeeds alone. Munomo tausalanda. So it has to be concerted efforts, both internal, institutional, strengthen the party, get them out. Yes, we lost an election. Yes, we were vanquished, but let's rebuild, let's reconstruct.
All right.
So that the rebranding doesn't become rhetoric, that you resolve the issues. And the jostling for presidents creates camps. And we are not good at competition in this country, you know. So an ideal time should come after you resolve those primary issues. The issues of the party structures, the issues requiring you take a stock of the, I don't know, like I'm saying, I don't know what the postmortem report says. You quickly attend to those issues. Remember, you serve the people. The PF has fewer members, but the PF should appeal to the Zambians who are far greater. If you're on Sekela Pariba, 1.8 now 2.8, there are jokes on Facebook. I said, you are being narrow. This country comprises 18.2 million people. Always look at the interest of the 18.2 million people, not about 2.8, Nangwa 1.8. Awe. This country is far larger than members of the political parties. This country is far larger, its population is far larger than the people that turned out to vote.
Yes.
So your perspective should always be national, should always be the entire population.
Shifting away from that.
Yeah, so my next question, Ambassador, obviously, there's been some section of society who are calling for the lifting of the immunity of the former president, that is, of course, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. I know that you served also under, the second Republican president, and we saw a similar call then. With this call now, what would be your advice to those that perhaps might be pushing this agenda that the immunity of the former president, the 60th president, be lifted?
I have stated that, first of all, I've fought corruption. I have spoken against corruption. I've acted against corruption. I have commissioned audits I had a distinguished record when the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee was my dear brother Vincent Mwale, who commended me that we've never seen a permanent secretary who has 0 audits when they come to Public Accounts Committee. So I've been very zealous in protecting public resources, and I've acted it out in that manner. So I support the fight against corruption, and I know it's one of the factors why our people punished the PF, because the leadership was seen not to be resolving the issues of corruption. You know, it appeared like they were tolerant to acts of corruption. So it's one of the reasons, like I'm saying, the PF was punished. Now, so when I contrast it with the issue of lifting of immunity of the former president, I've spoken against it. I've said it's not necessary. We don't have good history about it in this country. Dr. Frederick Chiluba in 1991 went after Kenneth Kaunda. We brought Scotland Yard, you know, did investigation. Someone went through the accounts because pre-campaign there was an allegation that Dr. Kaunda's government had stolen $4 billion and had stashed it abroad. It turned out not to be true, but Dr. Kaunda's name was destroyed. You know, he is an elder statesman who lost an election and was highly respected in Africa. We called him a thief. For 3, 4, 5 years, he was deemed as such, like he's a saboteur, he's a detractor to our country, when not. Comes Dr. Chiluba, distinguished man, who's a father of democracy in Africa, because Zambia was the first one to go multi-party after almost 20 years of one-party states in Africa. The wind of change across Africa blew from Zambia. And so Frederick Chiluba was highly respected for that. But President Mwanawasa went for him, says, you've stolen millions of dollars. He deployed FBI, Serious Frauds Office from London. He formed the Task Force on Corruption. We invited the CIA. We did everything. What was the outcome of that process? It just ended up to be a huge witch hunt. And destroyed the name of President Chiluba. And up to now, people will tell you, no, he's a thief. That president was a thief, despite the facts. In 2011, President Michael Sata goes for Rupiah Banda, accuses him of corruption, and we even lift the immunity like we did to Chiluba. We take the name of Rupiah Banda into mud. He is a gentleman, a distinguished diplomat, respected across Africa. We just muddy his name. And it is for that reason that I caution. In fact, I am supported, my views are supported by our new constitution. Learning from the past, they've made it a bit difficult to lift a former president's immunity. They've said there should be prima facie a case, there should be preceded by investigations. Even those reports should still be taken to Parliament, to a select committee, to determine whether the immunity of the former president must be lifted. So, but should we fight corruption? We should. Should we arrest whoever was involved? Yes. But the fight against corruption should not be selective, should not be ethnic driven, should not be because someone belongs to the Patriotic Front. Therefore, you want to destroy the Patriotic Front and you go for its leadership to decimate it so that you consolidate your political power and your state power. So it should not be driven by those issues. For any pursuit, it should be driven by evidence and by the crime allegedly committed, not by the personalities. That Eugene Wampf, arrest him and find out what he did, then you begin to go back to establish what he did. Oh, I think in 2015, is there a police report? Lock him up. No. So if a UPND official committed violent crimes, arrest them. If a PF official committed violent crime, arrest them too. But if you arrest a PF official only and you do not arrest the UPND official, then you are seemed to be selective in your approach. You are abusing state institutions to fight political battles. So lifting of former president's immunity, I say no. It's not necessary. The history doesn't support it, and it's more divisive than it should be. But the underlings can be pursued for the crimes in a fair manner.
All right. Great. We have a message here. I know that we're supposed to pick up a few calls.
We're supposed to pick up calls, and
Before
I
we let
know.
him go, right?
I'm looking at time,
Yeah.
but I know our listeners will grill us.
They will not
I'm
spare
sure
us
they
if we
will.
just let you go
Thank you.
without them talking to you. So yeah, you can give us those quick calls right now: 0977 624270, 095 094 79 97. Those are the two numbers that you can make use in case you want to be a part of the program. Good morning. You're through to Live Radio. Good morning to you.
Matusunga kwanje kalema bona kuitekeza tabachuti hapa kawa ya sisaje monga kwanje
Tauka mwaka bwanji.
nauka wa gesi monga kwanje
Alo, mulishani,
sawe tilifagona ni weliranda
nditayama.
this is a dalia takomo nge kwa president kanyama.
Yes, Uncle Darius, we're glad to have you here. Please, you have any question or contribution on what we've discussed so far?
Contribution na situation ina kabilo kanda chante msha wa gesi situation maranda ndem do va tribalism ya ina problem through humanitarian zibandi va chifanyisha kwa tate everything try ikia mnate everything kamba let's bring you authorities let's not allow the politicians to destroy this country. Whether kukopa biotic sauti kulizokutuliwa bantu bamu songa mazanga politician wakalanga bambo tete kulumbuletisha nango balepo kuaba president ngani kumye nuko naka naba nazisuka lubana through pali ababe n'abantu abali iya shira corruption kanesa imangale mali ku government ina ya mapoi. I think mali kirektora leti kila mtu kuiba. That's why mwe mwana kubati na ngopati wa lungu walila ndio watu community because if we separa waiki. Habalero shapanchi taristika. Amanda sada ina ndapanda la mera alela ndalo kwebati. Eva perenda rama niwa chike na wachike. No mbale college. Ama million via abantu aba letula. Kiyo twali tota kwa ama kada not minister, not MP. Alenya ndapanda rama. Ingai memo ashara kwa kalamba jara ashani papu kwa nito upende chuma chako angasha kwa kumare alenya ndapanda rama barebo ngaba twali whereby tofetula mutipatata kwa limiti twala chimona shani so chite atai conclude na lapo kulani kokwewa ati tuya tumwane bali kuma investigation wing balole keshepo because like president Chiruba bali muchiwe pamula na corruption ngaba lungu bena chinshi chilalenga ndata bapetemira ndu bala bali kabaka ishara kabapoka unity ya babachenche toko bajena leta hapa twawe chenche teni kama mabati ngwamira hata wasipashara popanji kana besa our let's not allow the politicians to destroy this country. This country is belong to all Zambians. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Darius, for sharing your thoughts with us. We can pick up another call, 0977.
People are asking, what's the number?
Yeah, the number
to call in.
Yeah, so the number is 0977
0977
62
62
42
42
70.
70. Repeat.
0977
0977
62
62
42
42
70.
70.
Alternatively, 0950
0950
94
94
79
79
97.
97.
Yeah, so those
We have a
are-
few minutes. Those that can call in, please call in quickly.
All right, so we have another call here. Good morning, you're through to Live Radio. Who do we have on the line? Elvis, good to have you here. We have Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba in studio.
Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba
Kanabe samulishani mwabombeni
Mwamba Mwamba
endita.
there. I'm a staunch PF blogger, a PF scholar,
and I've interacted with you so many times from 2015 up to now. Since you went to Ethiopia, we have been following you on Facebook. We have at least put the battle. What you have made there, Ambassador, is food for thought. We cannot afford to divide this party and Pakistan. Yes, there will be cut when this issue of the presidency is being handled. It's happening as we are at war. What we have to do is sit down and make sure that a person who is wanted by the people is given that position of the presidency. We don't want any manipulation. I was one of the people who was talking every day after my team there about the issue of Qatar. I even spoke to some officials. They were calling this Qatar as the Christians. They were denying that they were not serious members. But we lost the election because of the arrogance of Mwamba. New blood in Mwamba, like you, to carry on your presidency. That's the way to go. You have done a lot for the budget. And you have got a lot of qualities. They were leader. Look, even if I went to Ethiopia, South Africa, and you need that position of you. The first month, I was listening to you on the radio feed that I go through. You talk to say, this party cannot die. This party now is after LPs. Right now, it is the second largest and the biggest opposition party, which is giving the security life. This is why they want to put this party. People say, I'm working at the radio station first. I talk about our community. Even I'm actually this is why you have to protect yourself and the teachers because they were expected to.
So, Mr. Elvis, quickly, as you summarize on your submission.
Summarizing, Mr. Mwamba, Ambassador, we will come to municipality about you. You have never taken the number of Mwamba. I'm always on the radio for the we send the number and we can work well together. Put it to a member we were saying. I'm a regular caller that automatic station you find me everywhere. Woodland, Phoenix, Finland, Western, George, I'm everywhere. Don't bring Flora Mamba, but over the security for the Mamoro, we send the number for primary.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate that call.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
People who are helping you.
No, we thank God. We are humbled by.
And we feel you can work together with them.
Yeah, no, we are humbled by what what I've heard. The submissions, the proposals. I'm genuinely humbled, and I shouldn't take that for granted. But I've always regarded leadership as service. Whether wantuma kumpanga.
All right. Let's see if we can bring in this one also. Good morning. Silibwino, munibwanji name.
Bwana Demia Mwamba studio.
Tawaka bwino usaziwa imwe.
Madam Nanga Bwino. Mwamba studio Mwamba.
Hello. Is this proud or who is it?
No. That's just introduce.
Oh, I see.
Studio Getty.
Atumwauka bwanji.
Tauka bali bwanji na imwe.
No, Tauka Bwino.
If you don't kuchipatefi, yeah, sure. These are ancient, outdated languages. Tauka na ise muli bwanji na imwe.
All right. So, wauzeni zina, kaisi wakuzivani manje.
Oh, yes, zina Fraser.
Fraser, good to have you here. You can talk to the ambassador.
Yeah, I think tribalism, previous government, I think in India, government would teach you because in Zambia, there is no tribal. So my appeal when I'm to play, footing. Kulu wapasi nangu, wakulu kumanifari tribal mpifu. Then two, different kusema. Ushe mno Zambia mno malida ziwa mno Zambia. Ndauza ni munga tenge. Munga kocha upaka ko big industry o ndauza zizi kwa tawe. Wana fuza so because nima dabwa tapina wantu baba zindrama na chowakuti. So nona munga mno Zambia malida sinza pena sindi mo kwiliza kutunga kumaita sisi wala bwana ni wewe maita sisi ni abantu wakuwa kupoleza sasa ndio sipikinga then two namushe mwana kambina mungali party ya pele kwa the president because mkamba mke mali vice president wa development I think party ya design namushe I think msiriza mungali ke party ni party ifuna ilikali intact background senzani kunoshukuru.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
so
much. Yeah.
Fraser, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. So I do have a text as well that I need to share with you that has come in. And of course, maybe before we can get to another call here from Ambassador Isopiri saying, Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba, your humility shows the characteristics of a true servant, all right, serving in 3 governments. And of course, it is a testimony by itself.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador.
All right. Maybe we can get back to another call and pick up about 2. Then we see how we can conclude on the other side. I know time is not really with us. We need to be getting into a different also, program. 0977 624270 0950 79 97 and also 0950 79 97 0977 624270. These are the 2 lines that you can make use of in case you want to come through and be a part of, the program. In studio, remember, we have Ambassador, that is Emmanuel Mwamba, joining us on the breakfast today. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Mr. Eugene? Moderator.
I'm well. How
Good
are
morning.
you?
Good morning. And good to have you here. That's Philemon, right?
Yes, you are on the phone.
Wa Philemon mulibwanji.
No, did you ambassador?
Ah, kuli bwino.
Yeah, when the enjoy work, I said, with you go back with Sophia.
I think nalamiletela coffee kwali wa coffee isuma sana.
Okay, thank you. No, we are listening. Indeed, as many callers have said, you have spoken very well. And indeed, you have exhibited that you've got a heart for this country. This patriotic front had maybe more than 5 people like you. Patriotic front would have been where it is now. I'm telling you now, coming to the issues. Never. You go back to patriotic front. I think you should just think of another party. This is the party that has destroyed this country, and people who completely lost confidence in this country, in this party. Look at the way that provides checks and balances. I'm glad that you said if you PN this out, all of us are going to be accepted. Now, your colleagues, they are saying they want UPNG to fail. Even if this 5.7 billion, I think settled very well with your colleagues. So I'm urging you, as you're going to give that studio, that the 5.7 is emergency that is needed for the people to alleviate poverty. Even in Ethiopia, obviously you almost developed more than our country. But because us, we never took time to take advantage of the potential that we have. I think you can attest with me. And before I go, you should also clarify the issue of where your government, Patriotic Front, had a contract and they afforded a lot of dollars in the contract of the issue of planes, which the planes, the contract, they take the money for the contract, and the plans which they paid for are not seen on the ground. What was the intent there? What's the reason behind there? I think we need some clarification because you've got so much information as an ambassador to Ethiopia. So we need some clarification over this issue.
All right, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. If that is all, Philemon. The ambassador has taken note of your submission there. I'm sure he will be able to comment on that.
Yeah, in conclusion, Mr. Guest Mwamba, please never you go back to patriotic front. Look the way they are providing checks and balances. Instead of providing critical checks and balances, they are there. No, tribalism, click. Imagine very shallow kind of submission in terms of check and balance. So you should advise them, please. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So, Ambassador, I'll let you get to give a comment on those that we've picked up so far.
Yes, thank you very much. Let me start with the last caller who's urged me that I shouldn't return to the PF. Like I stated earlier, first of all, to destroy the PF would be doing a disservice to this country. We need the opposition, and to lose an election should not be criminalized. It should be a competition. The Americans have done it for many years. The Britons have done it for centuries. It should be a cycle. You learn when you are rejected, you accept that our policies were rejected and our competitors offered better alternatives, and the people give them a chance to deliver those alternatives. If they fail, they can come back to your policies if you tweak them, change them, and again sell yourself. I think that we should be getting to the kind of politics that are at that level, where we begin to appreciate policy discussions, and our ideas are based on the competition becomes a market for our ideas, where the UPND provides its best ideas through its manifesto, and the Patriotic Front provides their counter. Then you look at the government policies and you critique them, and you question them. Will they deliver the development that we want? A quick one. On the UPND, they've been in office for 90 days. I expected a major statement on what they've done in the 90 days. It's political rhetoric. When you win an election, you are marked the first 30 days, the next 60 days. They've clocked 90 days. There'll be 100 days in office. It's very important to demonstrate what you've done. In my view, they've said, President Hakainde Hichilema said he will unite this country. He wants to make Zambia a prosperous country, that he wants to deploy national resources to all parts of the country. And he has then presented his budget through his Minister of Finance. I look at the budget, it's a $10 billion budget, and 173 billion kwacha. How will, other than the good issues in the budget, such as the employment of 30,000 teachers, the 11,200 health workers that they intend to employ, and other than the construction of 120 secondary schools that will be done, through a loan that will get through the World Bank, other than the CDF that will go to each constituency, and I hope it is released, of 25.6 million. That is the expenditure side of the budget. If you look at the supply side, how will they raise this $10 billion? How will they ensure that these huge aspirations and programs and projects are funded? Unfortunately, they wish to borrow up to $4.2 billion, and they have a huge deficit. So that, for me, makes us ask, I thought you said there was a moratorium on debt. I thought you said you will not borrow. I thought you said you restructure debt. So why are you borrowing $4.2 billion in a single period of 1 year to finance a budget? Why don't we cut the cloth, the suit from the cloth we have? Why do we want to run a huge deficit and huge borrowings to finance the budget? I know there's a component of up to 98 billion that will be raised through domestic revenue processes. So you need to ask that. I want a debate personally. I want to engage in such debates because that way it benefits our country. But to discuss tribalism, I'm not available. To discuss petty issues, I'm not available. I want to engage in a discussion that helps change, reform this country. If the UPND does something wonderful, you support them on it. If they do something wrong, you expose them on it, you criticize them on it. And like I said, Eugene and Jamia, losing an election should not be a crime. It's part of the process. You lose an election because the voters have rejected your policies or your acts whilst holding that office. It should not be personal. It's punishment enough that you've lost. Go back to the drawing board, listen to what the people are saying through that rejection. Rebuild yourself and come back 5 years later. For the winners, understand why you've been given that mandate. What does the voter want? Why did the voter wake up at 04 to queue up to vote for me? You begin to implement the wishes of the voters. I hope that there will be maturity in our politics.
All right, great. I guess this is all the time that we had. I know we would have loved to go
so
on and
much
on.
to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about.
So nice.
Nshachibaneka. Jabi abaposheko abantu.
Hi.
All right, everybody on Facebook there, hi. All right,
You should also say hi, Facebook family.
Yes, thank you very much. Mabantu Bakwaleza, thank you very much for tuning in and God bless you.
All right.
We'll speak to you later.
Great. So, Ambassador.